Hey everyone, Depressed Dior here with Langrisser Mobile Apex Season 6. I said I was going to quit, but I decided to do a few more matches, and it was pretty much bad. I lost 4 games in a row, which brought me back down to Silver 2. Most of the battles were not great. Some of them I failed to get kills when I usually would get kills. I think in hindsight it's because Luna was on the field, and when Luna's on, both Luna and actually it wasn't even Luna. It was Landius. Landius actually reduces range damage, which actually messes with young Jessica's magic attacks. One battle, it was literally Lycoris taking one step forward at a time, staying within guard range, and just spamming her 3-cost skill and getting clock procs. Like literally, she had 3 clock procs in a row, so she just spammed it 4 times, covering the entire map in darkness and pretty much just shredding my entire, gradually shredding my front line. Like, it's kind of ridiculous to say the least. Like, I've complained about the clock procs and all sorts of procs in this game that are RNG based, and that match just, there's not much you can do about it unless you happen to have an assassin, which my opponent was pretty quick on banning the assassins. So yeah, it was just like, it's kind of ridiculous when they start spamming AoEs against a single target because they're so confident that they're going to get a clock proc. And even if they didn't get a clock proc, in the case of Lycoris, it just puts stuff everywhere and it stays forever if you're 6 stars. Anyway, so we're on this match. I've been getting the Winter Hideaway quite a bit recently. Looks like 3 tanks. I went ahead and banned Juggler, of course. Bits of Time Faction. Decent number of assassin types. A lot of it's a lot of physical AoE. There's a little bit of magic AoE, but not much. It's actually there's 5 assassins here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 assassins. So yeah, this is mostly about single target sniping. No changes to my box. Been sticking with Angelina. They ban my Zerida, they take their Zerida. So they're definitely going full on assassins. So I went ahead and focused on getting rid of their AoE first. They take out 2 of my main healers. They actually take a tank this time. I go ahead and ban the rest of essentially their magic. I went straight for Angelina. I usually try not to rely on Angelina, but I definitely needed Angelina for this one because I knew what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to use their they're just going to go rush beam with assassins. So I needed to make sure I get the kills I need for this. And Angelina is pretty much the most reliable as far as getting the distance. Rozenciel is pretty good, but Angelina can catch people off guard with her AoE and extra action. So I went and took out their other tank because I didn't want to deal with it. And I left them with 4 healers and a Leon. And as you can see, I'm grabbing everything that has long legs at this point. My series of losses kind of been reteaching me the, you need to grab as much. Don't worry about like buffs and setup. You just need to get the range. Having no buffs really sucks, but it's better than just being a sitting duck as they just plink away at you or shred you with AoEs. So they went ahead and grabbed their first heal, which was Leona. Not surprised that they took an act again. So I went and got rid of Leon at this point because I was like, alright, they only have 2 killers. If I can take out both of them, I'll be good. Actually, if I take out Zerida, I'm kind of confident I can deal with Sherlinka. As long as I spread out, she can't really do much. But also, I did change something. I got rid of Sakura and I got Estelle, but I think I did that at the end of one of the previous videos. But yeah, bringing in Estelle, this gives me the buff coverage. You might notice I have not really any healing. This was going all on nothing. I was definitely very nervous about this because they have 2 healers. If I can't get past his guard and I don't take out these 2, it's gonna get really, really difficult. And even then, like trying to deal with Landius with 2 healers, keeping him up can be kind of difficult when you don't have enough healing on your side. But we'll see how that goes. We kind of have passive healing if we get Rozenciel to 3 stacks and get the swords out. And then technically we have healing with Estelle here, but it has like a 6-turn cooldown, and it's essentially meant for buffing. Alright. Alright. So, Zerda, standard buffing Zerda, so I don't have to worry about any. As long as she's not transformed, she can't really bypass guard. This was something I kind of forget about sometimes. The only time she actually can get past guard is when she uses Heart of Alizar and then follows up with it. So I can actually kind of move around. Shalinka here, standard kit, but uses Firebrand Snipers as its troops. I guess just to get the flying type, not that you really need it. Sophia, standard buff with Regenerate, and then Liana is a buff Gossipal type, and then Landius is Landius. Is he? Yeah, he is. And then standard Estelle's, nothing's changed here. I'm going with Blackguard Aegis, but it doesn't really matter for Albedo because they're not going to target her. So yeah, I moved up here thinking that I needed to spread out some. Obviously spreading out kind of negates Shalinka stuff a little bit. Of course a Breeze proc happened, so this coverage is what you see here. But Zerda can't really do much with this coverage because she needs to spend a round buffing, transforming, because otherwise she's just doing a normal attack, which isn't going to do much. Yeah, so they're just staying in place. So I was like, you know what, I can just move forward and get myself set up. We're gonna go Fleeting Flash here. This actually worked out perfectly because I can move to, so I have 6 movement thanks to Estelle's buff here. And so what I can do here is move all the way to here, do Chivalry, put it out of sword, and get right into Shalinka's face. And that is exactly what I'm going to do. Go out of sword. Obviously Shalinka has her self-res, but it will stun her for a round or two. That is super overkill. But I mainly did it to get another sword out, also to get the move again, so get a little bit out of range. So Landius moves up, gets up his Peace of Mind finally. And I go ahead and move in with Angelina. And you guys are already familiar with this tactic that I use. Fling them back. And I'm going to do Ram here just to maximize my damage. I don't really need to do Ram. But it's good to be reliable. Act again on Landius. And I moved in to cover. So I think the plan here, I think what the plan was to act again with Landius and take out Rozenciel, which I don't know if he would have been able to pull it off, even Landius. But since I had the extra point of movement thanks to Estelle's buff, I was able to just move in and cover her. So the only thing he could have done is gone and killed Angelina, and then at that point it would have been, if he had done that, that would have made sure that he didn't have guard on Shalinka, and then I would have just killed Shalinka and been a 3-on-4 at that point. So yeah, I needed this win. It was actually kind of tough because I was measuring distance, and I was very, very nervous because every fight, like I said, I lost 4 times in a row. I deranked, and I needed 2 wins to even get back to the rank I needed to be at. So this was a much needed win. All right. So another match. I'm player 2. Went to Hideaway again. Get rid of Juggler. So for this box here, there's like a ton of healers. They have a Rozenciel. It's not Rozenciel, sorry. Rozenciel. And let's see what else they got. A couple assassins. Some AoE. It's not compared to the meta boxes I usually see, this isn't too wacky. It seems to be a lot. It seems to be very time focused. Actually, I believe it's actually protagonist focused because they have Matthew here. I was a little concerned about Matthew because I don't know how he's built. Because he can definitely be an assassin type if you want to build him that way. Everything else, yeah, like I said, I'm concerned about the usual stuff. One thing I definitely had some issues with in the past, in some of my past defeats, is they banned my Albedo first, and I ended up letting them have Delit and Yulia, and Freya in her non-SP state just can't handle Delit or Yulia like that. Hopefully when she gets her SP form, she'll be a lot better at dealing with magic users. Alright, anything else to point out? Not really. There's definitely a lot of things I was concerned about, because I don't see Sakura too often, but I know what she can do, and she can definitely do some damage if you let her. They banned my Zerida, so they're already knocking out my assassins. They take Alandius, not surprised. So the good news is them taking Alandius means they weren't going to go full-on rush. So I went ahead and took out their assassin and their Rien first. I was definitely a bit concerned about Hihei over here, but if they take Hihei, I could just ban the rest of the Time faction, both the protagonist and Time faction. I think that would take care of Hihei as far as faction buffs are concerned. Grab Albedo. She's super reliable. I can't wait to get her to 6 stars. She's going to be so much better at 6 stars. She'll have even more mitigation that doesn't require RNG. They go ahead and grab Yusuke, so they have Time faction buff. I went ahead and took out Sakura and Hiei because they're the most dangerous as far as Time faction is concerned. The only other Time faction that are left in the box is Renee and Delit. I'm a little concerned about Delit, and actually I'm concerned about both of them. The AoE from Renee can be very devastating with the debuffs. I went ahead and grabbed Sophia. I was like, I need to, against Yusuke, I need to make sure I have defenses so I can actually tank the shots he's going to fire at me. They actually went after my young Jessica, so I was like, okay, that's fine. They take Matthew, who's protagonist. He also has a summon, which means you can use that summon to essentially trigger Yusuke's talents and his hammer that he usually has equipped. Learning some lessons about Lycoris and Delit, I went ahead and banned them. I'd rather deal with these dark type casters than this nonsense again. I went to take Rozenciel. Since I have Sophia, I have buff coverage already, so I was like, all right, I'll take Rozenciel, get some mobility here. They went ahead and banned the rest of my my long distance characters, but I have plenty more already. They take Bozel. I was like, okay. So at this point, so one thing if we take the previous step here. So there's 4 characters in the box right now. 3 of them are healers, and one of them is an AoE caster. So you could think maybe it's like, okay, well maybe if we take out Renee and one of the healers, they'll just leave them with 2 healers. But more than likely, as you can see the box setup here, they need a healer. So I can just safely pass on Renee and force them to pick the healer I want them to take. I know there's some videos on the Reddit or whatever about how awesome Rozenciel is, but compared to with the box I use, where I don't actually focus on debuffs, Rozenciel is great to fight against because she doesn't have good healing. She doesn't have good burst healing, and she's generally not tanky unless she transforms into a crystal. And if she transforms into a crystal, I could just wait her out. Also, she won't be able to selectively target heal people when she's a crystal as well. So with that in mind, I was like, all right, well, I'm going to take out the 2 main things. You definitely wanted to get rid of TRS, because TRS on attack blessing on Yusuke would have been just death. I went ahead and took Angelina. I just wanted to get as much mobility as possible and take advantage of the fact I could push around units. Since most of my assassins were already taken out, I needed something to even the odds a little bit. At this point, they banned my last assassin and my Lycoris, leaving me with Freya and Sheltier, and you can probably guess who I'm going to pick. Yeah, just kidding. I'm going to pick Sheltier. Also, they picked Rozenciel as predicted. So for this, the reason why I picked Sheltier is I didn't need Freya for this one. I didn't have enough buff. There's the only people that would have gotten buffed by Freya is herself and Sophia here, and so Sheltier was just a good pick. Also, she's just highly mobile. Alright, so standard Bozil with faction buff and AoE nonsense. Rozenciel actually did not go 3 cost, she just went pure heals. In fact, let me check something here. Yeah, so yeah, all of her stuff is just 3 times her intelligence. That's as high as her heals can go. Yusuke here, since they have protagonist buff from Matthew here, Yusuke is going full in Dark Chinster and Spirit Gun. So you usually don't see Spirit Gun too often. And also, Landius is also protagonist, so you actually went ahead and grabbed a route, which is kind of useless. The only time route would be useful is if you happen to catch one of my characters out of guard range. Albedo is immune to route, thanks to our 3-cost skill. So Matthew here has Gale, which always, has a tendency to always proc. So yeah, obviously faction buff, and then he has this 3-cost summon here. So more than likely he's going to use the 3-cost summon to do heal negation, which Albedo's immune to, and then of course try to force me to kill the summon to make Yusuke get buffed up. So that's kind of the general gist of it. So right now, obviously Yusuke is dangerous. I wasn't sure how well I was going to be able to tank it. He has one-shotted in some battles he doesn't, and that's because Albedo unfortunately has a random chance of reducing damage by 50%. If that doesn't proc, it gets a little messy. She always has a 20% no matter what right now until she gets 6 stars. So it really is gonna revolve around whether or not I can tank a hit from Yusuke. If I can't take a hit from Yusuke, then it doesn't really matter what I do. I did make a mistake really early on though here. So he moved up. I could have killed Yusuke here. In fact, I should have killed Yusuke here. I could have went to here, chivalried. Actually, that wouldn't have been enough. Nope, never mind. Okay, so yep, I was wrong. Because I was like, wait a minute, couldn't I have been in range for that? Because I could have been like 1, 2, 3, or sorry. So I could have gone here, chivalry to here. Yeah, that won't be close enough. You have to get close enough to actually get the extra move from the sword. So yeah, actually I didn't mess up there. So I'm spreading out here. I know Matthew's going to eventually throw out his summon and potentially try to AoE me. The summon itself is not going to do a lot of damage, but it does do heal negation. And also, I'm not sure the range of Matthew's summon. I think it's 4 spaces. So there's not really any way to protect yourself. So the best I can do is just kind of spread out and get ready. Alright, so getting up the crystal heals. So I went and moved up at this point. I am just out of range of AoEs from Bozil. So there you go. Alright, so here's the situation. He's going to go first. I could definitely fling some characters around. Bozil's pretty tanky. He's kind of bulky. He's got pretty decent HP. And he also has crystal healing, so any damage I do with the Breath of the Tides, it's going to get mitigated quite a bit. But I needed to get rid of Bozil first before I deal with anything else. Like, the fight's going to revolve around whether or not I can tank the hit from Yusuke, but I'm definitely not going to be able to tank it if Bozil's going to be nuking me to oblivion, so I definitely need to get rid of him. Matthew is just really good and be an annoyance. All he has is a summon, and then he can just... He has a regular attack that does okay damage, but that's about it. So Psychic Eruption, no surprise there. So Breeze proc here pretty much means Yusuke has full coverage. And he's transformed, so he has additional range here, which did get updated. Okay, so it does actually update the text to show their actual range. That's nice. So it doesn't really matter if I hit more than 3 targets, because Crystal Healing's just going to counteract it. So this actually didn't heal him back to full, which is kind of nice, but Anticipation chipped him down even further. So yeah, I did enough. I had about 2,000 damage to spare to take out Rozenciel there. Of course, killing him gave Yusuke a bunch of buffs. Alright. Matthew didn't actually have Crystal Healing, so he kind of just took some extra damage. So every time an ally dies, he gets an additional 20% hero damage, and then he also gets plus 10% to all stats, and plus 1 unit range and mobility. So as you can see, his coverage just went ridiculous here. Yeah, essentially he gets that, and gets a bunch of health back. And it lasts 3 turns, so it lasts forever. So with that, he actually has really, you can see his attack just skyrocketed. So with this, I went ahead and backed away. I mean, there's no way, I'm not going to be able to escape Yusuke stuff. So I went ahead and just took this as an opportunity to kind of just back off. Just deal with that. So since I threw my sword, my opponent's a little bit more comfortable about moving around now, because I can only move 3 extra spaces instead of 6. So I kind of just moved back, made sure buffs were up. I do have 10 years on Sophia, so I can get a bunch of extra buffs. Gale procced here at this point. So he's going to go ahead and summon and just push in to go ahead and do Sword Dance. Immune to heal negation. It did take down the shield that was on Albedo. Now something to note, when Matthew does his summon, his max HP actually drops, I believe. Or something like that. It's kind of weird. So I went ahead and took out Matthew first, and then I was just going to go ahead and deal with the pet. At this point, since the buff was already up from Anger, him killing more things after the fact, all it does is refresh the cooldown, and the max of the cooldown can be is 3. So at this point, I might as well kill as much as I can. And here it is. So I did proc my 3-cost skill, and so I reduced the damage by 50%. If I hadn't, it would have been a kill. Which is not the end of the world, because Albedo would have self-resed at least once. So yeah. So it's 3 on 4, but that Yusuke is fully buffed and angered and transformed. So all I can really do is kind of just get ready. So Dark Tincture was used. And I went ahead and used this as an opportunity to go ahead and apply Rewind just to maximize my health. He played it kind of safe here. Yeah, he only has Spirit Gun here, so... How far was he? Yeah, so he could have taken a step forward and just Spirit Gun in place, which might have gotten a kill. But then he would have been out of guard range, so that's why he moved up first. And so that actually bought me time to get Rewind up, which healed up a bit Albedo to almost full. So Spirit Gun. Yeah, doesn't do as much damage. But doing all this actually exposes Rozenciel. And part of the reason also why I did Rewind was to refresh the sword. So I threw out the sword, got my extra 3 movement, chivalried, and I'm just going to take out the healer. This of course will give Yusuke his refresh his buff and max out his HP, but I'd rather get rid of the healer now. Super overkill, but I really wanted to make sure it was dead. Also, I wanted the extra 3 movement. There's no escaping Yusuke in this case, but... So at this point, Yusuke has all of his primary attacks are on cooldown. So that's the good news. As long as I had procced the 3-cost skill at least once, I was pretty safe. It's a 30% chance to trigger, and I got attacked 3 times. As long as it procced once, I would have, or I got attacked twice. as long as it procced once, I would have survived at least one hit, and then the second hit, in the one hit that I didn't resist, if it had killed me, she would have self-resed. So with that, I was pretty confident I would be able to survive Yusuke, once I saw that I could actually survive a hit. So Yusuke attacked, but didn't have any special attacks, so I actually was able to tank it pretty well thanks to the damage reduction that I had. Yeah, all that good stuff. So went ahead and healed up. They're gonna fall back. And unfortunately, there's not really any way for me to escape them with Rozenciel, so I'm just gonna kind of just let them run around a bit as I kind of close in with the rest of my group. So, the route was unnecessary here, but I guess he just wanted to use it. So did mass heal just to reapply buffs. Yusuke's transformation had worn off. Split Lance. Alright. So yeah, all of since they were relying on Matthew for the faction buff, I actually waited. I could have attacked with Shaltir sooner against Landius, but Landius still had his buffs up, and they only had one turn left, so I just was fine with passing turn and letting all of his buffs wear off. So all he has is his 3-cost pass buff up now. And this was my second attack with Shaltir, which means I get an extra action. So with this, I pretty much got it good. Again, like I said, Shaltir can do some damage. I just gotta make sure I keep her at full hit points so she has max mobility. Also, she does more damage when she's at max HP anyway. Yeah, at the moment the rage proc giving me that extra action, that my opponent immediately gave up, because then I would have just moved over, attacked him, got rid of his buffs, done some damage, and then gradually just whittle him down. So yeah, a bit of a learning experience, as you can see. A lot of losses here. I had to get these 2 wins to get back into Silver 1. Unfortunately, you don't have protection at Silver 1. I don't get protection until Gold 3, and unfortunately, with how my opponents have been, I don't see myself getting to Gold 3. Unfortunately, still getting into Silver 1's nice. Hopefully next weekend I'll be able to finish it up. I'll at least have 2 full days of just trying to get to Gold 3 or get Silver 1 again, because I'll probably D-rank. Yeah, overall I think I'm okay with the team I have. It'll be 2 weeks before Albedo gets to 6 stars. Once that happens, she's going to have even more damage reduction, which will be nice. Also, just generally higher stats. As of recording this, tomorrow I should have the SP class for Freya, and then I'll be working on getting her enchants up and running. So yeah, as always, this first week I tend to go in bulk as far as the amount of videos I make for it, and then I essentially just, once I hit Gold 3, I just do a win a day, and that pretty much will be what I do for the rest of the season. So there you go. So that's it for right now. I am the Depressed You, and this was Langrisser Mobile Apex Season 6. See you guys later.